volleyball league at the varsity level only, which anybody could play on as long as they were in the 4th grade on up. So we had a team, and they did pretty well, but they didn't win any trophies, but they did get a plaque this year for participating in the very first volleyball league in the district. So.
Okay, thank you. We're going to move on with the presentations of awards here.
Okay, like I said, this is the very first year we had a boys volleyball team, and after coaching girls for all these years, it was a little bit different than I had anticipated. We started out, I had 35 boys sign up last spring for volleyball. I ended up with 9 boys on the team. I had either 8th graders or 5th graders. And they did a really great job. They gave it everything they had. They play a lot differently than the girls play. But I coached them during the week. We had practices, and then, because I had girls during the weekends, David took them on to the games, and he coached them at the games. So I like to announce their names and have them stand up, and then I'll turn it over to David. Kevin A. Come on up front, guys. Des Brock, Eric Chin, Brandon Falk, J.P. Grundy, Matt McClency, Mark Yatak, Stephen Spears, and Jeremy Coon.
When Ann was looking for a game coach, there was a whole bunch of us fathers lined up, and I didn't hear what she said, but she said, would a volunteer please step forward? Everybody else stepped back. So I became the game day coach. It was a very good experience for me. I had no idea what boys competitive volleyball was about. I thought they would just go out there and just tap the ball and net. I quickly found out that was very much different. The league is very competitive. There's some real, in the 7th and 8th grade particularly, there's some guys that can really get that ball moving across the net. So it's a lot better of a situation than I thought it was. This year, as Ian said, was the first year for the volleyball. We had 4 5th graders, 1 7th grader, 4 8th graders. So we do have some experience coming back next year, and I want to invite the fellows from St. Cecilia. If you're not playing football, volleyball is an excellent sport where you participate in the fall. It'll help you get ready for basketball too, which is what we're really here for. So anyway, that's all I have here. Let's have another round of applause for the varsity boys volleyball team.
And that's our way of saying thanks. And for the rest of you guys and girls, it's up there. All you got to do is grab it, okay? Win your games, play hard, learn from your coaches, because we have trophies available for everybody when you win your league or division. Now I'd like to introduce Ann Gordon.
Okay, I would like to talk about the girls team for a few minutes. I had 2 7th grade girls and 7 8th grade girls. I had 2 girls that played through the 4th grade for me in the 8th grade, and the rest came out last year, so they were pretty new to the sport, but they did an excellent job. And we had a 9-1 record for the season. We lost to the same team we lost to last year. I don't know if it's psychological or what, but they played really loudly that day. And we did better in the tournament than we've ever done, because we won 1 match in the tournament. And then they lost the second match, and it was a really tough match. They lost, if I remember, they lost one of them 16-14, and one of them 15-13, and we won one of those. So they did a very good job, and they told me that they were the best bumpers and the best setters and the best hitters that I've ever had on any volleyball team. So I'd like them to come up now. Kristen Neely, Lisa Cruz, Megan Ellis, Holly Hunter, Julie Kearns, Heather McClincy, Lauren Katak, Megan Schaefer, and Paula Smith.
Yeah, I'm getting every one of them.
All right, moving right along.
We had a 7-3 record this year. We came in second place in our league. Most of these girls have been playing volleyball since the 4th grade, and we've kind of just all come up together and grown together and have learned a lot together. We have 7 6th graders, and we had 2 5th graders on the team. We split up the 5th graders, and we brought a couple up here onto the reserve, and a couple stayed down to the 4th and 5th graders because we had so many girls this year. The most important aspect of this.
Thank you, Maureen.
Bill, Renee, Metzler, Mr. Selby, and Sarah Wolf. This is my first year coaching. There was an overflow of kids, and they looked at me and said, "Hey, Sherry, how about coaching?" Oh, yeah, right. I never coached before. But these kids did excellent. I got 3 5th graders in this bunch that had played before, and they kind of took over. The 4th graders, we had to really work on serves for most of the season. Towards about the last 3 games, we finally started getting most of the balls over the net. We ended up going to the tourney and won our first match against IT today. St. Michael's, we just totally
Strong. She didn't think she was ever going to score a point. And I think in one game he might have scored 6 points. But she really came along, and she did an outstanding job. Our youngest and our baby in the group was our 6th grader, Kelly Mack. Now, Kelly is one of those kids like my mother. She's a natural athlete. That's what my mother tells me she is, a natural athlete. Kelly can do just about anything. Our next player we want to bring up is Heather McClincy. Heather was our floor leader on our team this year, and probably one of the most aggressive players out on the court. She had a tendency to foul out, especially when we needed her. Our next player was Lauren Piatek. Lauren, too, was a first-year player this year and was very easily coached. Probably one of the most easiest kids I've ever coached in my life. Either she was intimidated by me or what, but she did what I told her. She started out a new player, and by the end of the season, she was one of the leading rebounders and leading scorers on the team. Our next player, Megan Schaefer. she told the girls, come on, let's get fired up, come on. She was the aggressor, the enforcer. Our next player was Paula Smith. Paula's been playing for 4 years and probably one of the taller girls in the league. And the only thing we worked on this year was to get Paula to jump. Now Paula jumped at the beginning of the season just up off her toes, and by the end of the season she was a whole 3 inches off the ground. But she was our leading scorer and outstanding player. Our next player was Mary Schraber. Mary's not here tonight. And then we have another player that she must have had 2 numbers on her back because we got her name down twice. Nicole Walter. Nicole was the kind of person and player this year that she'd be very aggressive, go out there, run around, knock the other girl on the floor, and then apologize to the whole team, and the referee, and the coaches. You couldn't find a more polite girl. This is our 1989-90 girls varsity basketball. Our next team we will introduce will be the boys basketball in the varsity division. And they were coached by Mr. Dave A. and Mr. Pat Capretta. These 2 gentlemen, I think, have been coaching at the varsity level for about 6 years. And they're still waiting on their first child to get into that level. And that says something about their dedication to this sport.
Thank you, Roger. I didn't think we were supposed to talk that long. Our record this year, not the most impressive record. Our record was 4-9. However, you have to take into consideration some of the competition that we faced. The league this year was exceptionally strong. Probably the strongest we faced in the 6 years I've been here. We're not the biggest team. I wish we had some of the size that the girls had. It would have fared much better. Unfortunately, we didn't. But the guys on the team, worked hard and made up for our lack of size with hustle and dedication. There's a couple things I've asked of our guys through the season is to give your best. Win or lose, we want to win, but win or lose, we want 100% hustle during games in particular, also hopefully in practices. And I think we got that. I want to thank Pat Capretta for being the coach also. As Roger said, we've been doing together for 6 years, and maybe one of these days we'll figure out what we're doing, but we keep trying. One of the guys that I quite named will come on up. I don't think Richard Barnhill, I don't think he's here. Doug Brock, Brandon Falk, Adam Federer, Brian Gatlin, J.P. Grundy, Stephen Miller, Ricky Moran, Andy Sherwood, Stephen Spears. This is a unique situation this year in that this is the first year that I'm aware of that we've had a team for each grade. I think that says a lot for the program, a lot for the kids we have coming up that they want to participate in sports and are eager to participate in sports. This is the first year I've ever had an all 8th grade team, and I think some of the maturity on the team pointed out that it wasn't an all 8th grade team, but an older, mature team. I want to wish you guys the best of luck in the future. I think a lot of you have a lot of good years ahead of you in sports. I hope you continue in your athletic career. Thank you, guys.
All right, now moving along and what?
A couple games were down to 6 and 7 players. Bring the boys up here. Robbie Blue. Come on up.
We're in a lot of ball games. We lost 2 games by 1 point each. 1 by 2, 1 by 4, 1 by 5. We lost 1 by 15, but the boys were still in every ball game. They never gave up. So that says a lot about those boys themselves. It makes us proud of them when we tell the other coaches they're proud of our boys also. The big thing we tried to teach our boys this year is to encourage what they learned before with sportsmanship. They know that I won't put up with any unsportsmanlike conduct. None of our coaches do, not one of them. I had more than one opposing coach tell us they were very impressed by the sportsmanship our players exhibited. And we stressed it a lot to our players. We also told them they had to be good winners as well as good losers. There's nothing worse than getting beat by a team and having their team rub it in. And our boys were real good about that, when they had 2 opportunities. And finally, you have to have fun. You can ask any of the boys that played on our reserve team this year, and they did have fun, even while they're learning. What I'd like to do is I'll introduce our players, Donald Larva, Matt State, I believe Matt's in baseball tonight, Matt Falk, Nick Ewald, Chris Kiernan, Kevin Straley, Danny Skunza, Ben Rich, Matt Beatty. Now you see, we're looking for, we only had 9 players on our team. It's kind of hard to practice with only 9. And we elected an auxiliary player. He attended every one of our practices, as well as each of his own practices, which we gave him 4 practices a week, or 5 practices a week, I'm sorry. During the tournament game.
Are you mad at me, Roger? You didn't drag the field, and you let me out of the program. I'm going to ask my players to come up here. I don't see their names, and I can't remember all their names. If everybody on the 5th grade plays basketball, please come up here. I appreciate it. Okay, I'd like to introduce them here, so you know them since they're not in the program. That's Mark Fiotic, Lauren Walter, Travis Ruiz, Tony Favreau, Eric Chin, Keith Bernand, Paul Brundage, Josh Beatty, and Nick Arena. We have 2 that aren't here, Steve Beaver and J.P. Wright. Can you applaud? This was my first year coaching over here at St. Cecilia, and I was blessed with a very talented team. We wound up 2nd in our division, and I looked at each player to have an aggressive, hustling team. That's what I demanded, and that's what I got. So next year we expect better things, and as an indication in the tournament, we almost beat the best team in the diocese. And a few more breaks, I think we could have won it. I'm lost by a couple points. But I'm very proud of them and look forward to coaching next year. Thank you very much.
This was not only my first year coaching basketball, but it was first year for a lot of our players. I think we had 2 that had played 1 year before that. It was a new experience. We tried to learn together. And one thing I can't say is we have a lot of athletes in the 4th grade that will I think in the future represent the school very, very well. Parents, excuse me. I'd like to introduce to you Matt Burkle, Tony Casey, Keith Day, Kevin Ewald, Kevin Gallagher, Dustin Goldsberry, Josh Gordon, Dean Grundy, Phil Justice, Colin Norris, Andy O'Hara, and Gabe Scutman. I'd like to thank Mark Gallagher for his help, and at any practice we had, any parents were there, anytime I asked, they were always willing to help. Kids were always there on time. Our record was, I think, 1-7. The team that we did beat was the team that won the division. The second time we played them, we lost by 1 point in overtime. We had 5 losses that were within 3 points. And considering that all our players, this was their first year, we had to teach everything from terminologies to dribbling a basketball. I think they did an excellent job. And I think there are a lot of things in the future that you'll be very proud of at the school. Thank you.
Thank you, Phil. We'd like to move right on. Ronnie Collins, Brandon Falk, Adam Federer, Brian Gatley, J.P. Grundy, Jimmy Hoot, Steve Miller, Ricky Ruiz, Eddie Sherwood, and Steven Spears. These boys are doing a fine job at this time. We still have at least 3 games to get finished yet, and we're supposed to start a tournament in the next week and a half. Weather permitting, hasn't been too favorable lately. The boys have been in games, I think it took us 2 days or 3 days to finish 1 game because of the bad weather. The boys are doing a good job. They're responding well, and Al and Ronnie are doing a fine job with these men. We thank you. Thank you, boys. Moving along to the boys' junior
Rain. We played 4 games, got rained out 7 times. Tomorrow we're going to try for another doubleheader. This will be the 3rd time on this one. And we have a game on Sunday. So, keep trying. When we play, the boys are giving 100%, and that's what we expect of them. That's what they're doing. Boys, Matt Beatty, Ray Terry, Richie Deere, Derek Shepherd, Jane Ewald, Matt Falk, Don Lamar, Matt Miller, Mark O'Brien, Shane Paul, Ben Rich, John Riverback, Shane Sheets, Dan Schuster, Kevin Straley. Tell we got enough for a football team. We get the boys in and out as much as we can, make them all play. Only 9 of them can play at a time, and we've been trying to do that. The team is trying to do that. So we have a lot of games left to play, so keep trying to win. Thank you. Thank you, Mark. If we did make Mark the bingo caller, I think he'd have been shot by calling him as fast as he did those names. Next
Next, we'd like to bring up the boys baseball reserve coach and coaches, Mr. Rich Bernan, Mr. Alvey, Mr. Mike Arena, and Mr. Tim Favreau. Gentlemen, come forward. Be recognized.
The guys are still kind of wound up. We just got done playing here, and we were victorious over Notre Dame, and that keeps us in second place. Tomorrow we'll have a drawing for reserve tournament, which is Our Lady of Professional Health. Hope you folks will come out and support us. It's supposed to be, I think, starting off next Thursday and Friday next week. We will be in the winner's bracket. So, I'd like to introduce the fellows on the team and my coaches. Apologize to Al for missing him on the 5th grade clinic basketball team. He helped me out a lot. Okay, we got Josh Beatty, Mark Biotic, Eric Chin, Matt Quincy, Mr. Favreau there, Tony Favreau, Travis Ruiz, Paul Grundy, Nick Osterfeld, Lawrence Water, J.R. Dunn, Nick Arena, Pete Bernan, Mike Arena, and Tim Favreau. We have one missing. He left us after the ball game. John Chikowski isn't here. But they've done a real good job, and look forward to working with them in the future. Thank you very much.
Good job, Rich.
Our gentlemen in the 4th grade who have 4, 5, 6 years experience. Right now we're 4-0 and fully expect to win our division. Mike Hemicott, Johnny Blue, Matt Burkle, Tony Casey, Joey Collins, Keith Day, Kevin Ewald, Wally Fox, Kevin Gallagher, Dustin Goldsberry, Josh Dorsey, Dean Grundy, Phil Justice, Mike Moran, Colin Norris, Andy O'Hara, and Tony Triplett. I'd like to thank Mark Albert, for all his help as, you know, with the parents. And if this team stays together, it will be a force to be dealt with in this diocese for the next 4 years. I think that about says it all. Thank you.
Well, knowing how talented those girls were, I thought maybe they could hold me in, and they have. We are 6-1. Roger said earlier he lost his first game because of coaching. They lost their first game because of inexperienced coaching, but we have learned a lot from the girls. They are extremely talented, and they are absolutely super. So I'd like them to come up. We've got Kristen Beelan, Lisa Cruz, Megan Ellis, Holly Hunter, Shannon Jensen, Julie Kern, Heather McClincy, Lawrence Yaptak, Megan Schaefer, Paula Smith, Mary Travers, and Nicole Walter.
Thank you, Ann. Something Ann told me the other day after one of her games, she came up to me and she said, you know, I'm really glad you asked me to be a coach because this is the neatest thing in the world. And for some of you parents that have never coached, it's an experience that you'll never be able to have unless you do it. And it's a good experience. And we have plenty of openings. Just come on out. Our next team we'd like to introduce right now is the reserve softball team. And their coaches, Mr. Tony Allen and Mr. Joe McAllister. Are they here? Mary. Mary is on duty for Tony tonight. Miss Mary Allen.
Tony continues my team in Chicago, and Joe is at Raleigh for the softball tournament. Okay, first of all, I'd like to introduce all the girls. Kristen Allen, Heather Bell, Jennifer Merkel, Alice Chappell, Molly Kern, Olivia Koenig, Kelly Mack, Andrea McAllister, Tracy Riggs, Kate Teal, Andrea Whitehurst, Jennifer Brenizer, and Mary Robb. Italians are really proud of the girls. They're a great team. They're 5-1. They have 2 games to make up, and we anticipate to win the league. And we know they'll do great in the tournament. They're just a really talented team. Thanks, girls.
Coach. Rich is at the draw for the girls softball tournament, so I'm going to introduce our team. The girls junior reserve, Joanna Neely, Kelly Fretta, Beth Conley, Ilea Davis, Megan Mack, Colleen Melville, Renee Metzler, Susan Miller, Jennifer O'Brien, Lauren Powers. Lauren Powers also played volleyball, junior reserve volleyball. Candy Rimmer, Elizabeth Spears, Sarah Wolf. This team is also great. They have come a long way from the beginning of the season. Many of the girls have not played before. They have made a lot of progress. They are 4-1, and they also are hoping to be at the top of their league. They have two more games to play that they need to make up, and hopefully we will come home victorious. Mr. Miller is very proud of them. They're good listeners and have played ball well. Keep up the good work, girls. I do like to say, go Crusaders.
Thank you, Tony.
Cheerleaders, they're really good. They're a joy to watch, and they coach for us. And they cheer for a really good team, and we're really proud of them. Thanks, girls.
As you can see, our very refined young ladies who never fool around. We had so much fun. They could always bring the spirit of the Crusaders. We had this argument all year. Thank you, girls. You were wonderful.
Congratulations, Stephen. I hope you can do better than your brother did, and I'm sure you will. remarkable job this year.
Hang on there for a minute.
Steve, turn around here. You
Okay.
stomach's
Okay.
sticking out too far. Thanks, getting your lens ways there. My son, my daughter.
Hey, congratulations, Steve. Good job.
You get that, you get the keys? Yeah, we won a game when I played Sunday.
Congratulations, Steve.
Thank you. It's me.
Hey, can I get I'm sorry.